any runner who runs regularly for a pretty long period of time most likely will come across some injuries which and pains and knowing sort of discomfort in the lower body region, and I'm talking ankle, knee, hip, and lower back region that will discourage the individual from continue running. It's actually a very interesting study which shows that 85% of the people who regularly run have running-related injuries. Now, how the heck is that possible if we really made for running? And the problem is the way we are running with the kind of shoes that people usually use, what we usually focus on when it comes to running, has not much to do with the humane running. Because a human being, when we're meant to run, is basically we're running after an animal, and we never know how long it's going to take to catch up to this animal. So, now obviously there's a transition period when someone realizes this and makes an effort to change the old running routine into this more humane way of running. Now, most of the time for people, unfortunately, the real trigger that pushed them over the edge, that finally they make the step and stop worrying about, at least for a good period of time, you know, how fast I run, how fast I can run a certain distance, is usually the last trigger that requires for someone to make that step is a pain. The pain that shows up around the ankle, knees, hips, or lower back. Now, when someone is an avid runner, meaning they run regularly 2-3 times a week, unfortunately, the normal way of dealing the body, stretches and stuff like that, don't really get the job done. Okay? Even if you use a foam roller regularly, for example, working on your IT band, that is still not going to do the squat if it comes to these discomforts. Because by this time, you have a bunch of trigger points built up in your body, and you have the fascia sort of stuck down in many different places, so things are not really moving smoothly. And then the way how the human body works, or any kinetic chain works, when there is one segment of the chain changes, it affects the whole chain. Okay, so if something is going on down here, for example, that will affect all the way up through the IT band, into your lower back, your TFL, the opposite side of TFL, everything. So one of the key aspects of working on yourself as an athlete is working on the soft tissues. Now, I know that everyone is like, well, I'm just going to go to a massage therapist who can work on me. No massage therapist, doesn't matter if the world's best massage therapist, will be able to treat you as well as you can treat yourself. All you need is a wrench or something that has a hard edge to it. Now, to work on the wrench and work on yourself has a learning curve. At the beginning, when you start working, you won't really know what the hell you're doing, and as you're doing it, it's going to be a little bit of an experimentation, but it's a very easy experimentation since you have an instant feedback on how you're doing through pain. Okay? So, now the most critical points that one needs to work on, and the reason I dress like this is because I want to show you that you don't need to change for this. You can have a wrench like this in an office. That's why I chose an office setting to show you this. You need a wrench and a chair so you can sit down. You simply kick your shoe on, and you can start working on your foot. You grab the wrench. Bigger the wrench, actually, the better it is. This is not the largest one, but it gets the job done. This is what I like to use. And just slowly, you push on your foot, and you want to find any spots that feel sensitive. Okay, so for example, right in the bulk, in the center of your foot, most likely you will find some stuff that's kind of grindy and it's sensitive. When you find a sensitive spot, just stay on it and gently move it. You know, as you get better and better at it, you know exactly how much you can handle, and you can move this fascia over top the muscle gradually and just slowly removing all the pain. Work all aspects of your foot. You don't want to create so much pain that you have a hard time standing the pain, but you want to find those spots that you feel like there's something to work on. Now, the foot is a great area to work on. The back of your leg, with the wrench, you don't even need to worry about your pants. Just slowly working on your Achilles tendon all the way and finding the spots which are sensitive. The outside of your leg is a very important area as well. There is a bone right up here nearby your knee, and right below that starting, a muscle all the way down to about here. And that's what you really also want to work on, especially if you had any kind of IT band related pain in the past. You want to work on this puppy because the weakness of this usually twists somewhat the IT band, the fascia of the IT band on your legs. So I'm not going to go into major detail right now. It's more about the soft tissue work. So just gradually work through this. How much pressure you can apply, it's very individual. When you find a painful area, just move the range slowly up and down, nice and gently. Also working on the IT band. Now one thing about the IT band, you need to know that your knee needs to be straight when you work on it. This is how it's going to be completely loose. Watch that you don't push on the bony section of your knee. Okay, so just where the IT band, so the soft tissue, you can feel it where it's softer, that's where you can start working on it, and just gradually working on the side of your leg. You find a painful spot, just stay there, working it back and forth, just like so, on the side of your leg. You can work all the way up. The IT band is originating all the way actually below your knee, goes all the way up. 80% of it originates in the gluteus maximus, so work all the way back here into your butt almost, okay? So working all the way down here. Also you can work on your quadriceps to see if there's any kind of weird pains and aches you can feel there. Your hip flexor, when you work on your hip flexor, bend your knee. Try to find if you find anything there. Also you can find right below your ASIS, which is the anterior superior iliac crest, this bone that's sticking out here. You want to find if underneath that you find anything grimy that you can work on. So this is a very important soft tissue work that you should be doing almost every day. So have one of these at your office, and when you're on the phone or when you're thinking about something, you can just constantly work on yourself. That is the easiest way to make sure you have regular soft tissue work done on you. So that will be a supplementing thing to while you're going through this transitional phase from going the old way of running to this new way of running, which is actually really the old way of running, how human beings used to run. Okay? So this was the note on the wrench and soft tissue work for running.